Good evening, you're watching This Week, a weekly news review program. I'm your host, Taner Gambatar. And for top stories, 3,276 new cases of COVID-19 confirmed, 1,300 people recovered and 8 fatalities reported this week. A 15-day strict lockdown imposed from April 10th. COVID-19 immunization continues nationwide. And for other news, stay tuned. (3,276 new cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed from 5th to 9th of April, and 1,300 people have recovered and were transferred to home isolation. 64,000 were tested during that period, and as of Friday, the total number of cases is now 13,494, of whom 8,522 have fully recovered. Out of the 2,560 patients who are currently undergoing treatment in medical facilities, 14 are in critical condition. 2,300 people are recovering at home. To date, more than 2,370,000 tests have been performed, of which 0.5% have been detected with coronavirus. There have been reported 8 fatalities this week, which is 2 times higher than the previous week. A 15-day strict lockdown has been imposed from Saturday, April 10th. The government of Mongolia decided to impose a strict lockdown from 10th through 25th of April, and Deputy Prime Minister Amr Sakhan and the mayor of the capital city, Somyawatar, were instructed to move to a red level of the emergency regime.
As the number of infections continues to increase among citizens that have received their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine due to their non-compliance of control measures, the PM reported that the decision was made in order to create proper conditions for fully vaccinated citizens to not contract the virus. He then urged the citizens who received their first dose to continue complying with the infection prevention guidelines. During this period, people can get food, fuel, water, household goods, medical care from supermarkets and health centers close to their home. Citizens can attend funerals, go to immunization venues and go for a walk. A gathering of no more than 5 people is allowed. Social distancing rules should be maintained. Public transport will operate by a fixed schedule and people working in permitted sectors will be allowed to move around the town. In addition, as the majority of the workforce will be staying at home during the strict lockdown, the government decided to provide each citizen 300,000 Mongolian Turks in a relief package. The required funds will come from more than 1 trillion Mongolian Turks in tax repayment from Ayutthaya.
Small and medium-sized enterprise owners are facing difficulties due to the pandemic. Business owners have made requests to change credit criteria as they aren't able to get business loans due to the revenue shortfalls.
Handma opened this factory in the second Hora of Songkhairkhan district in 2018. They sew and sell therapeutic pillows with herbal materials. She recently applied to several commercial banks for 3% interest business support loan, but was denied each time. The banks denied her applications due to revenue shortfalls for the past 6 months.
The banks say even if you pay VAT, you must have income for the last 6 months. We couldn't operate during the pandemic and lockdown. At that time, only grocery stores were operating, but household goods stalls were closed.
Their company was selected as the best brand in Songkhairkhan district, and their product meets criteria for export to Japan, but their business operations have been delayed due to the pandemic. Handma says that the government should reconsider its policy to support small and medium-sized businesses.
Japanese people conduct a lot of research. Japanese representatives came and conducted consultations with us twice. During the COVID-19 lockdown, it became impossible to export our products. We will be in a very difficult situation if the government doesn't provide support to small and medium-sized enterprises with measures such as tax exemption, because we pay taxes on everything to produce pillows. For example, we import some materials. Producers really need support now.
We contacted local officials to get clarification on the status of support provided to small and medium-sized businesses.
The Small and Medium Enterprise Support Center in Songkhairkhan district cooperates with 2 or 3 cities in Inner Mongolia in the field of business development. Manufacturers from the district used to go to exhibitions abroad and increase their sales. Currently, there are some challenges with product sales. The Small and Medium Enterprise Support Center of the Songkla District Office is focusing on sales. Market studies and feasibility studies are being conducted.
There are about 2,500 small businesses in Songkla district. The district's Small and Medium Enterprise Support Center provides information and support to small businesses and receives proposals and requests regarding access to loans.
With the growing number of COVID-19 cases, Ulaanbaatar has become the epicenter of infections in Mongolia. On average, more than 30,000 people are being vaccinated daily. The government of Mongolia has intensified its immunization campaign with the goal to immunize the majority of the population by June 1st.
As of now, there are 1,741 doctors and medical staff working at 69 immunization sites in the capital city Ulaanbaatar. Immunization site staff started receiving more support on Monday with an increased number of resident doctors assigned to assist with vaccination procedures. The vaccination campaign is also being carried out in 8 provinces, reaching 414,382 people nationwide.
We are providing vaccinations to residents of 4 different neighborhoods in Bayındır district. Currently, there are 6 general practitioners working at the site. In addition, 13 resident doctors have been deployed to help us here. Family health clinic doctors are staying in touch with COVID-19 patients with mild symptoms who are staying isolated at home.
I received information about immunization online. District public servants also called and informed me about the immunization schedule. Our family members are all planning to get vaccinated. I received information about the COVID-19 immunization schedule through the online public service portal. Every member of our family has received their first dose of a vaccine.
Mongolia has received 4 different vaccines, including AstraZeneca, Sputnik V, Pfizer-BioNTech, and Sinopharm's Varicella. Vaccines have been purchased and provided by donor countries through the COVAX facility.
The number of COVID-19 cases is steadily growing, which is affecting operations for some businesses, including agriculture. Farmers say they are unable to start spring cultivation due to the pandemic, which could lead to a smaller harvest in the fall.
In terms of time, we're falling behind. Cultivation time is delayed. The process of fighting pests and rodents should have started earlier, but it wasn't done this year. Farmers fight against time, and we are really far behind schedule.
Farmers have been exempt from paying value-added tax when they buy seed and equipment from abroad. However, this exemption expired this year, and farmers say they are in a difficult situation.
Agri-technical work that's not finished on time always causes a problem in the fall. Problems include mineral fertilizers being held in many wagons at customs warehouses, and the tax exemption for some technical equipment is still unresolved.
On March 31, 2021, the National Emergency Commission decided to put together an emergency plan to start spring cultivation as farmers, beekeepers, and dealers and suppliers of pesticides are not able to leave Ulaanbaatar without negative PCR tests. Nationwide vaccination will also be intensified.
1,000 farmers from Ulaanbaatar were administered their first vaccine shots on March the 26th and 27th. The second doses will be administered at the immunization sites. The Ministry of Health plans to immunize about 14,000 farmers in province areas from April 3rd to April 17th.
Seed and cultivation equipment imported by farmers in the western provinces used to enter through the Tsaganur, Borsho, Artsur ports of entry bordering with Russia. But now only food and fuel are being imported through these ports. Farmers now have to import shipments through Altınbalık port. Farmers say that the change can increase transportation costs by up to $2,000 per truck.
Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs that happened this week.
A ceremony marking the entry into force of the second compact agreement between Mongolia and the United States Millennium Challenge Corporation was held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This marks the official launch of the compact agreement's implementation over the next 5 years. The ceremony was opened by Patsitsik, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Chairman of the Board of the Mongolian Millennium Challenge Corporation, and Michael Klichevsky, Ambassador of the United States of America to Mongolia. The event was attended by cabinet members, parliament members, and the mayor of Ulaanbaatar. Under the second compact agreement, the United States government will provide $350 million grant, and the government of Mongolia will invest $111.8 million to implement a comprehensive program to increase the water supply in Ulaanbaatar and ensure sustainable social and economic development. With the implementation of the compact, infrastructure work to increase Ulaanbaatar's water supply will begin, including construction of a wastewater recycling plant and a groundwater treatment plant. As a result of the project, Ulaanbaatar's fresh water supply is estimated to increase by about 64 million cubic meters, or by 83%, which will extend the city's water supply by at least 40 to 100 years. Asian Development Bank approved $100 million loan to strengthen Mongolia's health sector and its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The project will focus on 4 reform areas: strengthening planning and preparedness in the health sector, ensuring the availability of critical medicines and emergency supplies, improving national pharmaceutical regulation, increasing hospital autonomy and good governance, enhancing procurement in the health sector to increase efficiency, and establishing a single purchaser for health services, and safeguarding the fiscal sustainability of the government over the next 3 to 5 years. The government of Mongolia initiated stringent emergency measures to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic in Mongolia. These actions delayed community spread. However, the government estimates about 60% of the population is at high risk of infection. According to 2017 World Health Organization evaluation, Mongolia's core capacities relating to pandemic preparedness are limited, suggesting Mongolia is poorly prepared for surge of COVID-19 cases or a similar pandemic. In the first quarter of 2021, Mongolia traded with 112 countries, and the total trade turnover reached $3 billion, with $1.8 billion in exports and $1.2 billion in imports. Foreign trade turnover increased by 64.9%, with exports increasing by 96.7% and imports increasing by 33.7% compared to the same period last year. The foreign trade balance has surplus of $538.9 million in the first 3 months of 2021.
Now let's see what happened in sport industry this week. A total of 20 Mongolian athletes will participate in the Asian Wrestling Championship from April 13th to 17th. The championship will take place in the same venue as the 2021 Asian Wrestling Olympic Qualification Tournament from April 9th to 11th. The tournament is the 4th and final regional qualifying tournament for the 2020 Summer Olympics. 10 Mongolian athletes will participate in the qualifying event. Given the conditions of the COVID-19 pandemic, United World Wrestling decided to move the Asian Olympic qualifiers from China to Almaty, Kazakhstan. While Sofia will host the World Olympic qualifiers from May 6th to 9th, wrestlers around the world can compete for the final opportunity to test themselves ahead of the Tokyo Olympics at the Poland Open Ranking Series from June 8th through 13th. 10 athletes will represent Mongolia in freestyle wrestling for the Olympic qualifier, and 20 athletes will compete for Mongolia in the Asian Wrestling Championships. On April 7th, the 30 wrestlers and their coaches will fly to Almaty on a special chartered Hunu Air flight. Patsitsik, who competed in the women's over 68 kg freestyle wrestling at the Nur-Sultan 2019 World Championships in Kazakhstan, qualified for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games by defeating French gold medalist Kumba Larocque. Arslan Club athlete Tolga qualified for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games at the Nur-Sultan 2019 World Championships by defeating German silver medalist Alexander Semisorov in the 65 kg category with a score of 8-0. The International Boxing Association has confirmed its youth men's and women's World Boxing Championships are to go ahead as planned. despite Poland recently announcing a lockdown due to the COVID-19. 8 athletes from Mongolia will participate in the championships, which will begin on April 10th. Scheduled to be held in Kielce from April 10th to 24th, the championships have been given the green light in accordance with the government legislation. The regulation of the Council of Ministers of the Government of the Republic of Poland published a measure in the Journal of Laws and the Republic of Poland on December 21st last year that allows the championships to be held. Competitive sport is exempt from COVID-19 sanitary restrictions. This means sports events can be organized without public attendance, and training for sports people can also take place. Poland has closed non-essential shops, hotels and cultural facilities for 3 weeks due to rise in infections. On March 18th, Poland had its highest daily infection rate since November 23rd, with 27,276 cases announced. This is the third highest daily rate in Poland since the beginning of the pandemic. The Mongolian National Youth Boxing Team is training in Poland ahead of the World Youth Championships. The Mongolian Youth Boxing Championships will start on April 10th, and Mongolian boxers are preparing to compete in 8 weight classes, according to the Mongolian Boxing Association. Cholontumur, Irkin and Ganzorik will participate as coaches of the national team. The championships were initially set to be held in 2020 before being postponed until 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The event was initially scheduled for November 2nd to 9th, 2020. The Asia-Oceania Judo Championships 2021 began on Tuesday in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. The Asia-Oceania Senior Championships, organized by the International Judo Federation, will offer ranking points to qualify for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Said Malai, the only representative from Mongolia, won a bronze medal in the under 81 kg category. The men's 73, 81, women's 63 and 70 kg weight category matches were held on the second day of the Asia-Oceania Judo Championships in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. On the second day of the competition, Said Malai, a Mongolian athlete and world champion, gold and bronze medalist in the men's under 81 kg weight class, led Group A. Said Malai won a bronze medal in the Asian Games, being the only representative from Mongolia. Said Malai lost to Vladimir Zolaev, representing the host nation, in the semi-finals. Other athletes from Mongolian national team were unable to compete in the Asia-Pacific Championships after being tested positive for COVID-19. The organizing committee decided to rule out the Mongolian team from the competition. With 3 gold, 4 silver and 3 bronze medals, South Korea leads the competition in the medal standings. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you next week with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.